a pro-choice Catholic, right? Meaning I believe in a woman's right to choose what she does in her body, right? That is, I'm a minority in the Catholic community. Catholics are usually pro-life, right? Or what they call pro-life, anti-abortion, right? And because that's doctrine, from the church, right? The point is though, is that, just because I'm Catholic doesn't mean that we all have to vote in a block that says, okay, we're all going to line up this way or that way, because there's other issues than abortion, right? Mm-hmm. I think when you're going through the struggle, mm-hmm. like when you're trying to get the Civil Rights Act passed in 1967, right? When you're going through the struggle, at that time it makes sense to try to push as a block, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're trying to get through something, right? But once you've gotten through it, now 60 years later, mm-hmm. okay, 60 years later, I think you're going to get more and more pushback from Black Americans mm-hmm. if you're telling them how they should think, mm-hmm. what they can think, mm-hmm. because I hear a lot of it, like when you got like a conservative Black person, mm-hmm. the Black folks on the left, they call him Uncle Tom, mm-hmm. Sell out, absolutely. These things, but
it's a very judgmental situation to be in. But however, though,
but isn't that the antithesis of civil rights and equal rights?
Well, so that's one way to look at it, right? So for me, mm-hmm. a lot of, like I said, Black people are allowed to think differently, right. and that's great when it comes to thinking. However, when we have people telling us to get over things and telling my race, hey man, just don't look to the past, look to the future, it's very convenient, right?
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I would have argued against that if I was debating that term. Uh-huh. I would have pointed out mm-hmm. that it's very convenient, correct, to try to whitewash, 300 years of slavery mm-hmm. and systemic,
no one wants to be
injustice.
around the aggressive Negro, right? It's just not a fun place to be. Even for the Negro, nobody wants to be around that. However, they have every right to be aggressive because of where they're at in life.
Let me ask you a question. And now again, playing devil's advocate, right? Where does it stop? How many years does it have to be?
A lot of people believe in death. A lot of people believe that revolution comes with blood. A lot of people believe, hear me out, a lot of people believe that it's a money thing.
But here's my point. At what point?
And define stop what?
This is what I'm saying. So when I say, if let's accept the premise that the Black community it's still fair to feel a way about what has gone on in this country over the last 200 years and to and to believe that there needs to be social programs in place that help promote the upward mobility in the Black community, right? And I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I guess I think somebody would say, okay, so for how long? So in 2100, or you know what I mean? In 2100, is that long enough? How much time has to go by before we can say, okay, we have a fucked up history, that's indisputable, okay? But now, it's been long enough ago where we're all equal now, right? No one's arguing that we're equal, everyone has equal access. When does it end? That's my question.
So what do you mean by end though? What are we ending? Are we ending racism? Are we ending
this
systematic?
This idea that there needs to be like special roles or laws or things put into place to protect, like
a race of people.
Yeah, I don't know how to see. I have a hard time articulating. You know what I'm saying, though.
But I want to answer you correctly.
So here's my point. You would agree that there's a significant difference in racial relations between 1960 and 2025, right?
It's a tough one. So technically, yes.
Okay, why technically?
Systematically, fuck no.
What-
Now,
what-
the only, okay, so at the beginning of that, what you just described, there were things put in place. There was a prison pipeline put in place.
Mm-hmm.
There was a huge budget increase in the Section 8 voucher program.
Mm-hmm.
There was a baby boom. There was all these things that were put in place to disconnect the black family. Since from
You believe the Section 8 voucher program was an effort to disconnect the black family?
not only do I believe it, I believe it's still practiced.
But
to
you
this
think
day.
that was the intent?
Absolutely.
The intent wasn't to make sure that there was housing for low-income
I
single mothers?
think, I think they provided a need.
But what would have been?
Food, clothes, and
So
shelter.
what would have been the alternative, right? So if you didn't provide the voucher
First
program,
of all, we were doing great by ourselves.
okay,
And that got destroyed by opposing forces. We were bubbling. We had businesses, we had
I'm
towns.
obviously aware of
We
like
had
Black Wall
Blitz.
Street and Tulsa.
Well, that's
I'm
an
familiar.
example.
I
That's
know.
an example. But there's
I get that.
several examples of when we had the opportunity to do for self. It comes across as a threat.
But where
So I
did
think
that
what
change?
we're fighting. Well, okay. So there was a drug situation.
Mhm.
There was crack cocaine. There was, let's say no to drugs. There was the Reagan era. There was all these things that it wasn't just one thing, man. Let's be clear about that. And it wasn't pure innocence where it was like this evil white community and this innocent black community. It wasn't that either.
Right.
It was just, let's be clear. Let's start from the beginning. When you see a black baby,
Mhm.
not even too young, doing like these incredible things,
Mhm.
whether it's dancing, singing, or things that we're just like, how the fuck does this person get to do all that? That creates fear to some other people. It brings us joy, but some people are just like, man, we can't have this.
What do you
can't. Meaning the excellence of black dynamics, right?
I
We're
don't-
born with this
See,
spirit.
I don't understand.
Understood. But
Hear
me out, Mac.
listen, my point is, I'm so not that way.
hear me out, though.
I don't understand how anybody can be jealous of a kid.
You don't understand that dynamic,
Yeah.
but you understand law, practices, and business.
Right.
And that's where we're disconnected. We don't understand law, money, and all that stuff. We're disconnected with that. So we got to go to another group of people to actually learn that. But we're born with a spirit to just dance on beat, sing on beat, to create this and do this and build this and invent that. However, the power structure that be doesn't want that information to be known because it goes back to the Charlie Kirk when he's trying to incite back in the white race. And we're not, where you stand in the world, where you were in the world.
See,
There's a
I
saying
don't
that
know if I agree with that.
but
I don't know
that,
if that was his
that's
message.
okay, that's cool. Because I'm not really big on Kirk as far as what he was trying to do. But what you just explained to me is that there's a 22-year-old white man
Mhm.
that grew up in a world that Charlie Kirk is trying to bring back.
And the truth is, Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. And he was
Okay.
he was born in the late 90s.
Okay.
Whether it be 1990.
Yeah.
1995
But I
or
think he
96.
represents something.
Well, I'm just saying that I don't. Of course, yes.
And I want to answer your
And by the
question.
way, again, I gotta keep saying it because part of the dynamic of this conversation is that I'm going to challenge you, and you're going to challenge me, right? So I'm trying my best to play devil's advocate,
Correct.
even though that's not where I align politically. I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
On the left, right? And I definitely understand when people say, like, his style was so provocative
Yeah.
and confrontational that he should have expected, not saying it's right, but he should have expected that something like this could happen, right? Fair, that's maybe fair.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that that's unfair, and he probably knew
And
it,
that goes for all of us.
and he probably knew it, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a conservative, he's a big time Christian, and in the same way Martin Luther King was on a crusade for civil rights.
Correct.
Charlie Kirk's big thing is on a crusade to save babies because he believes that there should be a federal abortion ban, all these things. If you believe in that, if you believe that you are saved, that you are on a mission by God to do something good, whether it be civil rights or save unborn babies, right? And you're willing to put yourself in
the front line.
In a bullet's path, knowing that it's against longevity, your longevity, but you feel it's necessary for you to do it because you have the ability to do it. I think that's admirable.
I agree.
Whether you're Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, or Kirk, and I know people are not going to like me putting him in that category, but the problem is there's a lot of people on the right that do put him in that category. A lot, millions of people. They look at a man who was martyred on television, right, because of his strong political views. I mean, I'm watching things on TV where they're talking about having a lion state in Congress, right? Because the right truly believed that he was going to be like president one day, right? So, you have to try to look at it through the lens of the people you don't agree with, right? And if you look at it, regardless of how you feel about Charlie Kirk, right? Millions of Americans believed in what he believed in and believed that he spoke for them, right? So to them, that is their mark. If you are an anti-abortion zealot, right? And you believe that abortion is murder, and you are on a crusade by God to save children. This man's a hero. Your hero just got killed.
Correct.
Right? So that's my point, right? Is that I try to look at things through the lens of people that I don't necessarily agree with, right? And I think that's the best way to put yourself in a position to kind of understand, right? Is to try to see it as they see it, right? And I think that's where
So do you think this is a fight within his race or a fight against the American people as a whole?
Well, I don't think with him, I don't think it was racial, right? I think that there's probably a bigger, obviously the LGBTQ community has a real problem with him. Okay. I think that, listen, I don't think if you were a conservative black man, right, and went to the podium, I think Charlie Kirk would agree with you. I mean, he'd be like, that's absolutely. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
I don't think it was racial. It's more ideological, right?
But because he's a white man,
of course, he's also like this imperfect vessel. You got this guy who's he straight out of central casting for being a young white conservative Republican, right? And he's preaching to black folks in the crowd about basically stop bitching and let's get it done,
which is convenient. But what I'm seeing is,
and it's also bad optics.
But I'm seeing a guy tossing out "Make America Great Again" hats, like it's the thing to do, right? And we all know what that's going to get you. We all know how that's going to go.
What do you mean?
As far as so "Make America Great Again," that statement alone boils people's blood.
Of course,
right? But he's doing it on purpose.
Because "Make America Great Again," as a Democrat, when I don't like it because to me there's an implication there. It's "Make America White Again."
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
But
there's that part.
I mean, that's how I feel about it, and that's how I've always felt about it. Because when was America great? Right.
Correct.
But at what time? And you want to go back to the 20s? What is it?
What are we doing for real?
Right. So, but again, I think Trump is a demagogue. I've never been a Trump supporter, right, or a supporter of that movement, right. But I think that if you were to talk to Trump's supporters, they don't perceive it that. I think some do. I'm not saying that there's not a fringe on the right that is completely racist and other. But by the way, there's a fringe on the left that's fucking crazy too.
I think there's a very strong undercurrent of financial freedom and success with that statement as well. It's "Make America Great Again." I think that has to do with money a lot too. I don't think it has to do with freedoms and constitutions and things like that. I think it's make America, where in the Reagan era, a lot of people made money.
Yeah.
So that's my go-to, right? Great equates to everybody making a lot of money in their endeavors.
Right. I mean, or you know, I think that some people would take it as also, it's just like, there's a real belief that our country has become too obsessed with social issues.
Yes.
And we need to get back to like, you know, like strong military, strong economy, strong family values. Like it's kind of like getting back to this like Leave It to Beaver era, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like the almighty and virtuous American, right? And that, you know, that slippage that has occurred with, I think that there's, you know, I hate to say it, and I don't know how else to say it. It's like, I think there is on the right, there is a belief that like there's been like a pussification.
Yeah.
Right? If that makes sense.
No, I understand.
And then like America's just like this weak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're bad people. Yeah, we've done bad things. Yeah, and it's just like we're like on this apology tour, and people are like, all right, dude, like we're not perfect. No country's ever gonna be perfect. Every country's gonna have fucked up things that happen.
Correct.
Right? You know, all of Europe does. I mean, listen. I mean, the largest unbroken chain I saw of slavery in the world was out of Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, like, you know, we don't want to get into like Genghis Khan and the murder that was created under Saladin. I mean, everywhere you touch in the world, right, has had atrocities, right? And I think that there's just an idea, especially in the younger generation, of people that didn't live through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right? That are just like enough is enough.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why when I say at what point do we say enough is enough, right? Like, yes, it was fucked up. We know this happened. We get it, right? But like, it's like, how long should Germany still apologize for the Holocaust? I'm not saying that it's this.
I get you.
And that's probably the worst atrocity committed.
I mean, they say that.
Well, at least in the last 1,000 years. I mean,
it definitely can't be talked about or never forgotten. But no one's saying get over that, right? But my point is,
we're also not Germany either. I mean,
my point, and you know, that was a horrible situation in history. Like, I don't think anyone's proud of that. Right?
Nobody is. Yeah. But I don't think people are proud of. I don't think anybody with a heart or a brain can be proud of slavery either. Correct. So, I don't even understand like that. I don't even understand how that was like how it's any group of men. Because remember, the founding fathers put this into codified slavery, right? Like how any like these geniuses that built this country with this living constitution that is still living today, they're geniuses in so many ways. Like how nobody in that room that rubbed them the wrong way. Like it's hard for me to even wrap my mind around it, right?
Yeah. I mean, but those people still exist and are very strong and are very powerful in this world. And I think they're puppet masters in a lot of ways.
But I don't know. I think that you have, listen, I think you have fringes, right? I think this is part of the problem that we're at in this country, is that you have a fringe on the left and you have a fringe on the right that are dictating the politics to the vast majority of Americans that are in the center, right? Okay? And I'm a centrist, right? I think most people are in the center, right? But the fringes, the radicals on the left and the radicals on the right, you know, I think that they're the ones who monopolize not only the politics in practice, but they're also monopolizing the media on their respective side. So all you're hearing on Fox News is that the far left is evil, and all you're hearing on MSNBC is that the right is evil, and that's getting pumped into us 24/7, and we're all running to a corner because based on what you're watching, it's like
it's an accessible
man.
It for me, when people say like, you know, such as yourself, like, you know, when is it gonna end? Where do we go and all that stuff?
No, not saying when it's gonna end. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but I want to answer that.
Yeah, I do. I want you to, because I think my point is, it's like so you know, as a young white man, if you're like, okay, like when is enough enough?
Yeah.
Like how long do I have to apologize for something that I know nothing about?
Correct.